To the first On Point Sports podcast. Today I'm joined by Adam.
Hello.
Last night we had the 49ers and the Cardinals go face to face in Thursday Night Football. On that game, 28-25. What did you take away from that game?
So for that game was a lot closer than I really thought it would be. Being 28-25, especially on the first few drives, the Cardinals were really able to score a lot. But I think as time went on, the 49ers got a little more comfortable, and that's kind of ultimately, in my opinion, led them to the 8-0, especially with Jimmy G really showing up in that game.
I'm a little surprised that the 49ers actually pulled through with the dub last night because themselves. And interesting stat, Nick Bosa didn't do as good as he usually
He
does
didn't
last
do
night. He
well
got
at all.
sacks. He usually gets at least one or more.
He's got one through about 7 games, and then last night 0, like you said.
That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, he got
Uh,
really close, but didn't get one.
Moving on to the next subject, we're going to talk about postseason predictions. Who do you have going into the postseason?
So going into the postseason for the AFC, we'll go division by division really quickly, just so
FC
people can
East.
follow on. So the AFC East is the Patriots, in my opinion. Who are
Yeah,
you
I mean,
thinking?
there's
Yeah,
pretty no debate there. There's like no debate.
yeah. So we can already move on to
Um,
the next one.
I
All
don't
right.
think the Bills can
No, I
pull
think the
through.
Bills could possibly get a playoff, but there's no
Yeah.
way they're clinching that one. So the AFC West, who do you have
Uh,
for that one?
I have the Chiefs.
I have the Chiefs
There
too.
really is no.
That's not, yeah. The next best team's under 500, so it's not really a discussion, really, either.
Yeah, moving to the AFC North. Who do you have there?
All right, so the AFC North, I have the Ravens going ahead and clinching that division. What
Yeah,
about you? The same thing.
I agree.
It's pretty
There's no
straightforward, I
really.
think,
Yeah,
for
there's
the
no other
AFC at
team.
least. And then the hardest one in the AFC is the AFC South. Who did you have for that one?
In the AFC South, I have the. This one's kind of hard to decide because more. I'm gonna say the Texans.
I would go Texans as well.
Yeah.
So then after that, so there's 4 division winners in each playoff conference, I guess, but there's also 2 extra teams, the 2 best record-wise teams remaining after those 4 divisional players or teams, I guess. So who do you have for the other 2 teams?
I'm gonna have to pick one from the AFC South just because their
Yeah,
division is really good. I'm gonna pick the Colts because
you
they
have
have a
the
5-2
Colts.
record.
Yeah, and then who
Pick
is your second team?
is the Bills.
You have the Bills. Okay,
Yeah.
I
I
think
know you're
they
gonna
could make it.
say something crazy, but
The
I think the
Browns,
Bills.
my guy. Go ahead.
I th- I think the Bills will do better than the rest of the teams
Yeah,
in the AFC.
they're at 5-2 already, and I don't know,
Yeah.
but I have the Jaguars just because right now they are 4-4 with Nick Foles returning in 3 weeks, so they definitely could do pretty well there. I think they'll definitely be. I don't know if they'll be the 5th seed because obviously these will be the 5th and 6th seed, but we'll just have to see. But yeah, I definitely have the Jaguars, like I said, and then I was thinking between the Colts and the Browns. But I think with the Browns' favorable schedule to end the season, they could go undefeated in the rest of the season, if not, I believe 7-2. And that's kind of what I see. So I have the Jaguars and the Browns, and it was kind of hard to leave the Colts out, but that's what I end up having to do there.
It's a bit of a bold prediction there.
It is a bold prediction, definitely, but I think it is.
Moving
I
to the
think it's possible.
moving to the NFC. Who do you have taking the NFC East?
So for the East, that's one of the hardest ones. I do think that the Cowboys will definitely make it through, though. The Eagles are definitely a playoff team, which we'll get to that in just a moment. But I do think that the Cowboys can make it through there.
I agree with you. I don't really want to say this, but Cowboys are going to take
Yeah,
NFC
I
East.
don't
The
think any.
Eagles might pull through,
Yeah,
but
I don't think anyone wants to say Cowboys are gonna win, besides a few people. So for the yeah, that's that one. So for the NFC West, this is a little interesting one here.
Yeah.
So I have the 49ers, of course, making it 8-0. I think they'll go about 11-5, 10-6 to end the season. So I have them
You
at the
said
top.
11-5. What'd you say?
11-5 or 10-6. One of
Oh,
those.
so you don't think they'll go undefeated for the rest of the season?
No, I don't think so. They play a lot of hard teams, but they could go undefeated, but it'd be pretty difficult.
I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna have to agree with you, even though I
Okay.
go for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I do think the 49ers are gonna clinch the division.
Hmm.
You didn't know right now.
Yeah.
Face
So
off with the Seahawks. They're gonna take the L. 100%.
yes, sir. All right. So then for the NFC North, I have the Green Bay Packers there. And who do you
Uh,
have for that one?
I have the Green Bay Packers too.
Yeah. They're really close to the Vikings, but I don't think the Vikings will continue to be at kind of that high level with Kirk Cousins. I don't really trust that.
Yeah.
So then for the NFC South, that one's, I think, the easiest one out of all of these. I have the Saints. Who did you have?
And there's really no debate
Yeah.
here. The Saints are
It's the
7-1
Saints.
compared to the rest of the division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after those four division winners, we have obviously the other two teams. So for me, I had the Seahawks being one of those teams. And
Sure.
the other one came down to the Eagles and the Vikings, but I ultimately think that the Eagles will make it through. As I said, the Vikings, I think, will kind of fall off as the season progresses.
Wow. Okay.
Do you have the same
Um,
two, or who do you got?
I agree with the Seahawks, but I
Yeah.
don't think the Eagles will postseason.
Mm-hmm. So then
Better
who do you have for that
team.
second one?
The Vikings will
You have the Vikings.
ultimately,
Okay.
yeah, they'll be better than the Eagles
So
in the
to,
end.
to both of us, it came down to those three teams. But I have the Eagles over the Vikings. You have the Vikings over the Eagles for that one.
Yeah.
So I could see it, but I definitely think the Eagles can win that one.
We'll move on to our next little subject. We have award predictions.
Mm-hmm.
The first
So
coach of the year. Who do you
yeah.
think
So
will take that?
I think it's Kyle Shanahan just because I think that the 49ers are really it's got to go to one of the best teams, which the 49ers I think will finish as one of the best, if not the best.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. But some honorable mention people that were kind of there would be Matt LaFleur or Sean Payton, in my opinion, which are the Packers and Saints head coaches, just because I think they'll also be at the top. So I think
Yeah.
it's coming down to one of those three, in my opinion. But just like you said, Kyle Shanahan, I think, wins it.
Okay. Moving on to the next award is Offensive Rookie of the Year. Who do you think will take that?
So for Offensive Rookie of the Year, we saw a lot of this on Thursday Night Football and in the last few weeks, and that's Kyler Murray. I think that he right now is increasing in his production, I guess you could say. And
Yeah.
I think that it's going to continue to happen. And if the season ended today, I think he would easily win that. And going forward, I think it'll become easier to kind of see him as the winner.
Lee is one of the top offensive players in the league.
Hmm.
Next award, Defensive Player of the Year. It's pretty obvious who
Yeah.
you're gonna pick.
So Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and the Rookie of the Year, I have Nick Bosa for all three of those awards. Just
Wow.
because there's no one really else on the defense who has been standing out as much as him, especially for the rookie.
Yeah.
But just in general, you'd rather think it's him or someone like maybe Aaron Donald would be next up, but I just don't see Bosa losing that.
Got Bosa for 3 awards.
I have Bosa for all three of those awards.
Okay. Well, we'll move to Offensive Player of the Year. Who do you think will take
Okay.
that?
So for Offensive Player of the Year, I have Christian McCaffrey, who I feel like if you look at all the numbers or if you even just watch the games, you can see that he's had a big impact on the Panthers this year, which with them not having Cam Newton is really something that they needed. And so far leading them to a 4-3 record. I think he's really a big part of that. And yeah, just if you look in the recent year or in the recent games, I should say, you can just see that he's really put up the most offense out of pretty much any other player, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna move on to the last award, VP.
The
Who do you
MVP.
think will take that home?
So I have Aaron Rodgers for that one. I had
Sheesh.
Yeah, I had Aaron Rodgers for that one. But someone else that I was kind of thinking between was that or Russell Wilson,
Here we
who
go.
yeah. So in the end I picked Aaron Rodgers just because I feel like in the end he'll have a better record, which could also attribute to him winning. But also just because he's putting up the numbers for it. And if you really think about the most valuable player, the last few years he's kind of been hurt in some way or form,
Yeah.
which has obviously led them to not having a 7-1 record after 8 weeks until now. So I think he's definitely the most valuable player in the league.
As of right now, I can agree with that. But as the season progresses, I ultimately think that Russell Wilson will
Russell
be,
Wilson, yeah.
because that's my guy, you know?
Yeah. I think he's also right now putting up the numbers. But we're kind of opposite on that. You think that Russell Wilson will kind of go up and Rodgers will go down, but for me it's the opposite where I think Rodgers will still go up and Wilson will end up going down. But the next few weeks will definitely tell us kind of what's true about that.
Yeah. Speaking about the next few weeks, we have more football games going.
A lot of games this week.
uh, is going to be the Texans and the Jaguars. Who do you think will
So
take the win?
so this one's in London as it's 6:30 in the morning. But I don't think that will really matter. Just the flight could come into play, but I don't really think there's any sort of differential in there. I have the Texans winning that one. They just have a better quarterback, I think, right now, and that'll kind of carry them to a win.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Mhm.
Have are the Bears and the Eagles. Who do you think will take that?
So for the Bears and the Eagles, that's a little harder of a one to guess, but I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Uh, yeah, I can see that happening.
That one
Definitely.
could go either way, though. Definitely.
Yeah, that's true. Another interesting game happening at the same time tomorrow is Vikings and Chiefs. Who do you think will take that?
So for the Vikings and Chiefs, that's a little more interesting just because Kirk Cousins with the Vikings, and then Patrick Mahomes is actually questionable for the game, which in my opinion I think he'll play. But right now we're looking at it as if the backup plays right now, and if the backup plays, I definitely see the Vikings winning that one. But if Mahomes plays, probably the Chiefs will win. But my prediction for now will be the Minnesota Vikings win that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there. Mahomes does make a big difference when he does play.
Yeah.
Is that we have the Colts and the Steelers. Who do you think will take that?
So this one's the Colts. I don't think it's really a
Yeah.
big like debate there without Big Ben there, without just so many options, kind of leaving the Steelers in last year. So I think that's
Uh,
that one.
yeah, I agree. Game are the Jets and the Dolphins, which would be pretty interesting. Not because
Uh,
they're the best two teams in the league,
One
but
of the worst too.
yeah.
Um,
Who do you
so
think will take that?
so I have the Jets winning this one just because I feel like the Dolphins are really trying to lose. If you've watched their last few games, they've gone up a lot, or they have really challenged the other team, and then when it comes down to the very end where they probably want to lose, they've end up losing. Do you agree with that,
Okay.
or do you got the Dolphins?
No, yeah, I agree. I
You
mean, the
think Jets
Dolphins
will
aren't
win this
that
one?
great.
Yeah.
Neither team are that great.
They really traded a lot of their options away this year.
The next game we have are the Redskins and Bills. I'm pretty sure.
This is Bills.
Yeah, no debate about that.
That's one
We're
of the
gonna move
more
on because that's
exciting
pretty
ones.
embarrassing to the
Yep.
Redskins. We have Titans and Panthers. Who will take that?
This one's a little more tough, but I think the Panthers will win that just because of their backup quarterback, and also of Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year candidate. I think, just because I think the Titans have kind of been struggling, and Panthers, besides last week where they lost to the Niners by, what was it, 38.
I think so. I believe so.
They've been pretty good besides that.
I on to the next game, we have the Lions and Raiders. Who's going to take that?
So this one's a little tough, but I do see the Lions winning it. It just seems like I thought the Lions would have been the 0-16 team, not the Dolphins. But they have kind of surprised me with their record so far. And the Raiders, I think that'll be a tough game, but I have the Lions beating them.
Yeah, I have to agree. They're another game, the Buccaneers and Seahawks.
Yeah, so I think this is one-sided as well. The Seahawks winning that. I think the Buccaneers can put up a fight, but I think the Seahawks will win it in the end.
Yeah, and another
Packers.
interesting game is who's going to take that one for you.
So I got the Packers. That could be a Chargers win, but I highly doubt it. I think the Packers will definitely win that one.
Yeah, it's probably like 80-20
80-20.
for Packers.
90-20. We'll see.
90-20. Does that even add up?
You never know. Oh, you
We
meant
have,
percent. I thought you meant a score.
yeah.
Anyways.
Next up, we have the Browns and Broncos.
So this one we probably disagree on. I have the Browns winning this pretty easily. The Broncos have traded away a lot of their options. You think the Broncos are winning this one?
Aren't doing too well this season. I'm going to have to agree with you that the Browns are.
You think the Browns will win that one, though? I hope they win that one. If they don't win that one, I'm not too sure about that comeback I said's happening.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Baker Mayfield.
Yes, sir. Okay.
It was Cowboys Giants. What do you
Alright.
think will take that?
So Cowboys and the Giants. For that one, I would say probably the Cowboys. I think the Giants will put up a fight if the Cowboys don't go out and know what they're doing. Just because they went 3-0 to start, and then they went 3-3 just like that. So, and if they're 4-3 right now, about a game above the Eagles, right below them. But if they end up losing this and the Eagles win their game against the Bears earlier in the day, I should say, then the Cowboys could be in trouble. So I do think they will know what they're doing and they'll win that one.
Yeah, I agree. With the last game we have for this week, we have probably the most interesting game.
Definitely.
It's the Vikings and Chiefs. We have the Patriots. My bad. Patriots and Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think will
So
take that?
that is Sunday Night Football. I think that one that's definitely the biggest matchup that Tom Brady and the Patriots have kind of dealt with this year so far.
Yeah.
And I do see the Ravens winning this. The way that the Patriots have played against teams like, let's say, the Redskins in the first half, the Giants in 3 or 4 quarters, and kind of the Browns before that, they haven't really been playing too great against those teams that are obviously right now at the bottom. So I could definitely see them being. Would it be considered an upset against the Ravens? I'm not sure. Would you say?
I don't think that would. That's the best way to define that, but
yeah, but I definitely see the upset there if that's what's going to happen.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you just because it's the Patriots.
Hate
The
on
Ravens will
Patriots,
definitely, the Ravens will definitely put up a fight, but
It
Cool.
could be a tough first half for Lamar Jackson because he's never
Yeah.
played the Patriots as far as I know. But
Their
second half will be
defense.
better. Their defense is
sheesh.
that's really what's been winning them games recently. So if they can kind of get past their defense, I think the Ravens can definitely win that one.
Yeah, and we're gonna discuss one game for Week 10, just because
By the next
we're
time
we're
they
making
hear us,
predictions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
By the next time
we
they hear
have-
us, we'll have it over. Go ahead.
Chargers and Raiders.
So this one is also a really tough one to predict just because they're both kind of at the bottom. Even though the Raiders still have a better record than them, the Chargers do have Phillip Rivers and some other options. But I have the Raiders winning this. I think it'll be a close Thursday Night Football game, but I do think that the Raiders at home will kind of rally around their home fans and win that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree.
Mhm.
That's definitely gonna be a good game.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's gonna wrap it up for this podcast. Our podcast is 11/2/2019. Happy birthday, Jimmy
Jimmy G.
Niners.
Yes, sir.
49ers fan history. Because,
Okay.
I mean, you know,
Anyways,
when was the last time they were like this? Never.
1990, I think so.
Anyways, yeah, that's going to do it for this podcast. We'll see you next time.